Good afternoon and welcome to Listen at Lunch. So, as usual, this is your time. This is 20 minutes for you to take away some wisdom, some knowledge, some understanding from one of our experts. And today we have got a lovely lady who I have known for years. We've got Nikki. And the reason I asked Nikki to join us is because I wanted us to talk about health and well-being, and I didn't know if that was to be focused on nutrition or on exercise or on mental health. So I thought, do you know what, Nikki is holistic, and her approach to everything is how all these factors kind of come together. So Nikki, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you started with your health journey and give us some context?
Yeah, sure. So about 7 years ago, I decided to become a PT, left the recruitment world, just fell in love with wanting to help people feel better in their body and the mind. Initially it was personal training, so people coming from me saying they want to get toned tummies and legs and whatever things like that.
And you did look super ripped, I remember.
I did, yeah. That was about 16, 17, so I'd just come back from Thailand, travelling, had a bit of a sort of, I know it was a midlife crisis, but life change, and really invested in health and started to realise I was helping people feel energised through PT sessions and group sessions. So then became a PT, one-to-one, small group, but as those people, and I was predominantly females at the time, but I was a mixture of both men and women, some of the PT sessions we just didn't move. It was just them talking, maybe how much stress they had in their life, their emotions, so it kind of felt like I was being more of a mindset coach, so it just made me want to find out how I could help them more as an internal, as opposed to just the external and helping them shape their body. Some sessions we just wouldn't even move and they'd just get upset. So yeah, I think what I realised is then, and it's probably incorporating a bit of COVID in the middle of this as well, some of the sessions just started to be, we were doing meditations, we were doing more flowy movements, and I started to look into things like hormones and breathing, which is, again, all the modalities that are part of what I do in my programme. So I stopped being just a PT and then started to learn a little bit more about hormones and movement and nutrition and gut balancing and things like that.
Excellent. And I know we've had conversations about hormones and things, because you know I train really hard. I love a training session and I love beasting it, but there are times sometimes when I don't need to have a hardcore session. Sometimes my body is actually requiring something different. So how do we know? Because there's to me it's like a bit of a minefield, and now we're hearing so much about health that how do we know what we need? If somebody's sat at work now and they're not feeling amazing and they want to feel better and they want to feel healthier, where do we start?
That's a really good question. I think if I was speaking in answer to a female, first things is like learning how to cycle sync. That's where really I started to see my training plans and the clients that I worked with totally changed. That if we just worked out where you were in your cycle.
In your hormonal
In your hormonal cycle, yes. Obviously there's 4 phases of that, which I can go into a little bit more at a different time, but not just the menstruation where we have the bleed, it's just knowing that there's other stages and our bodies respond in different ways as bones are more dense, etc. I could talk about this for ages, but I'll not. But keeping it simple, if you're in a particular phase of your cycle, then going and doing a heavy weight session is actually going to release more stress chemicals in your body. So then you're going to hold water. So then we're going to start feeling crap about ourselves. So I think cycle syncing, first of all, you can download apps like Flow, lots of different things. That's where I'd say start as a female.
What about the men?
Yeah, but again, I think, there's slowly becoming some things that they're seeing that the men can have a heightened testosterone levels, that they do still have a cycle flow, not quite, as people say, we sync with the moon and things like that. Maybe not to that level, but again, if you recognise that you're feeling certain emotions, it's just maybe taking a breath, which I'll touch on later, that if you just take a moment to sit and say, right, how can I acknowledge how I'm feeling right now? Yes, as a woman, you might be able to go and see where you're in a cycle, and even as a man, just find out how you're feeling in your body, and if you sit and acknowledge that feeling, that you can learn, if you're feeling really exhausted, then you're not going to want to go and do a big heavyweight session. Maybe a nice little casual walk around the estate, or a yoga session is more helpful, really.
And what about food? Because for me, I'm a foodie, and I eat depending on my mood. If I genuinely think that my body tells me what it needs. If I need carbs, or sometimes that's because I'm tired, I've not slept enough, and so then I crave that like kind of comfort food. How do we, because life can be so busy with work and families and running around and stuff, what can we do food wise? Because I don't think it's as simple. I think there's more to food than what we kind of give credit for. What would you be saying about our nutrition to make us a bit healthier?
I think firstly it's fair to mention that it can vary for every human being. We have different metabolisms. People choose to do fasting, but if in the most simplistic form is, I always say having breakfast is one of the most important meals. You're boosting your metabolism, you're setting off. So for a woman should be having averagely about 15 grams of protein, a man 20 grams. Okay. Therefore you're injecting a protein intake into your body and you're not going into tiredness levels, you're not grabbing those carby snacks, etc. So that's my first tip with most clients. But if you are, deciding to fast, then that might be out of the scope. Yeah. But meals mainly, I think it's just if it grows out of the ground and it's natural or it falls out of a tree, generally it's good. If it's colourful, if it's bright, so if it's a fruit, if it's a veg, if it's a grain, if it's natural, it's going to be good for us. Okay. Try stay away from rubbish processed, man-made foods.
It's so easy to do as well.
Exactly, yeah.
They're always in vending machines.
And they make them look pretty, and they tell you these funky things like X calories, and I think it's clever marketing, so I think it's not.
And drive-throughs.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on my road. The amount of things, there's a lot of like Costas and things where you can struggle to actually find something in there that you can just grab. You end up with a croissant, or you end up with
and the rubbish,
it's just rubbish, isn't it? I tend to keep a lot of fruit in my car because my little one will say when I pick him up from school or when we're on his way to school, I'm still hungry. So I'm always like, have a banana, have a apple, have a so if I don't have time for, and I shouldn't say I don't have time, but there is a lot of time where life is just going too fast. And if I'm just going to work and I've got a banana on my way here, am I doing all right? Or is that not great?
I think it's a better option than, like you said, going for a drive-through and eating some saturated, fatty, horrible food, yes. But I think you're right to prepare stuff like overnight oats, little, protein bars. They're not what I would encourage to have, but you're right, natural things like fruits, nuts, they're always really good, so good little snacks.
They just don't fill me up. I like to feel full. That's my problem. Like, I love a bowl of porridge with some honey and some blueberries because to me it's like a pudding. I don't feel like I'm eating something that's super healthy. I just really enjoy it and it's filling. I am somebody
as well, isn't it?
I like to feel full. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I was having my breakfast, it would be very similar to a bit oats with some antioxidants like blueberries, or if you like Greek yogurt, that type of stuff. So it's high in protein, but it's also fibrous, which is good to get the flow through without getting too about your gut. And I think when you mention nutrition's such a wide term, isn't it? Again, because of depending on what different body types and how we respond to foods. But the biggest tip I'd say is have an alkaline-rich food intake. So if you think,
like what?
I think when we were at school, you used to put those little strips in acid and stuff.
Yeah, I remember the pH levels.
Yeah,
I remember
so
that.
if you're trying to keep your gut in the most alkaline state, so that is all the foods that I just mentioned, natural foods. Whereas acidic, it is like saturated fats, really, fatty foods. They're going to send you more into acidic. So if your gut's in an acidic state, then the bad bacteria, that's where we get gut problems. And so that's, again, it's a wide range, but if they're alkaline rich, so they're natural, they're going to put you into that alkaline rich state. You're releasing more your happy chemicals, your bacteria's up, then your skin's better, your hair's better, you can have more energy. So that's one of my big tips, always about gut balancing and supplementation. Obviously food is so fastly made in this modern day, we don't get the goodness through what we need. So stuff like, good vitamin D, because in England we don't get much of it. B12, good omega-3 to help you synthesize fat. So I would give my clients more tips on balancing your gut and supplementation as opposed to just preaching about food, because I think you've got to enjoy what you eat. If somebody gives you a, pardon the term, a diet plan, but a nutrition plan, a guide plan, however you wish to word it, you've got to enjoy what it is. If you don't want chicken if you don't want a piece of chicken and sweet potato and broccoli in a Tupperware tub, you're gonna, again, goes back to hormones, you're gonna release those stressy hormones, therefore you're not gonna actually synthesize the food in the right way.
You've just reminded me of a time when I put myself on this not a diet, because I'm always very conscious of what I eat and the way I train. It is a lifestyle thing for me, but I just thought I'm going to really tighten everything up, so I did lots of chicken and rice and veg, and every time I brought it, I just didn't eat it. I took it out of my bag. I actually I went to the effort of buying it, cooking it, bringing it to work, getting it out, just not eating it. Still going and getting something else to eat.
See, that fascinates me, yeah, but then that taps into the mindset stuff that I love that we said there's like parts of me, so there's lots of little Jodas, but that really good, I'm going to follow the rules, little Joda, I'm going to take the Tupperware, because you've done that and it's a Tupperware. I've got clients saying they used to literally have like panic attacks of a friend who's like, if you gave them anything in a Tupperware tub because they'd done bodybuilding and training, they'd got to the point where they struggled to follow, like you said, that clean process, but there was a part of them that knew that was the right way, but then they felt stressed for doing it, so then it's counterproductive, isn't it? You're eating healthy foods, but you're releasing stress.
So if people want to know more about all those different things that we've talked about, and they want to spend some time with you or whatever, where do they go, what do they do?
Ignite and Revive with Nikki is my new business page. I used to be Fitness Mad Nick, which felt a little bit, again, keyword fitness, so to really help people realise that Ignite and Revive is about the flames that are already within you. So Ignite and Revive with Nikki at Instagram. I am on Facebook as well.
Lovely, thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.